Oh, Rocky's having a rest behind his surveillance bush, so he's pretty happy. The weather right now isn't great, but it isn't horrible either. It's good for the time of year. Anyway, I reckon that I should explain my situation with women. I'll make it clear from the outset, I'm not a homosexual, right? I'm not attracted to men or anything like that. But, and I am physically attracted to women. And there was a time when I wanted to have relationships of that type, romantic relationships with women. Gave up on that, though. It's just not been good, is all. In my case, I've had women, it's even to the point where if I'm in the vicinity of a woman, and I don't know why this is, but there's something about me that they don't like, and I've been in the grocery store and I've had women go batshit crazy on me and accuse me of being a pervert and everything. They'll react as if I had done something that a pervert would do. But I want to make it clear, too, I'm not a man who's going around exposing myself. Or I'm not, touching women. I'm not physically touching them. I'm not looking them up and down, mentally undressing them. I'm trying to talk to them. I'm not hitting on them or anything. I'm just pushing a shopping cart around buying my groceries. And I've had women freak right out, go completely crazy on me and accuse me of basically being a pervert and sexually assaulting them because I happen to be grocery shopping at the same time as them. I don't understand it, but that has happened to me. There was one time I was sitting in my insurance broker's office. I had some business there related to my car insurance. And I'm just sitting in the waiting area there. I was in there by myself. And the door opened. Somebody walked in from the street. Well, I turned my head and I looked. It was a reflex reaction. I just glanced over to see who came in. And it wasn't a perverse thing or anything. I didn't know who came in. That's why I turned my head and looked. And this woman came flying across the room, stood over me, and just really dressed me down, told me I was a pervert, demanded to know what I thought I was looking at, and told me I was a pervert, and how dare I look at her, and all the rest of it. Well, all I did was glance in her direction when the door opened. I didn't know who came in. For all I knew, it might have been a 68-year-old man with a beer belly and a big bushy beard. I had no way to know it was a woman that was coming in. If I was a pervert, even if I was a pervert, my motivation wouldn't have been perversion. It's just a reflex reaction, that's all. Anyway, I've had things like that happen all my life. There was one time I was walking down the street. I was a young man at the time. And there were these three young women around my age, sitting on a park bench, just on the street. They have benches to sit down along the street. And one of them was crying, and she was going on about how abusive her boyfriend was, and the other two were consoling her, basically agreeing with her that he was a bastard and that she deserved better and all the rest of it. And as I walked by, now I didn't pay a lot of attention to them. I saw them there. I heard enough of the conversation just because I happened to be going past to know what it was. But I didn't interject. Didn't interject or anything. I didn't put myself into the conversation. I just walked by minding my own business. And this one of the two friends points at me as I go by, and she says, "It could be worse. You could be with that." And that's how it's been for me anyway. And I could go on for hours. I really could, about all the stuff that's happened. But that's the reason that I am the way I am with regard to women anyway. I become misogynistic. I actually do sincerely believe that there's something wrong with the logic and reasoning part of the female brain. I think that women are just born with an inferiority mentally in that part of their brain, So I don't think they can help it. And I can't come up with a logical explanation that won't offend a woman. Basically, I know any woman watching this will probably be offended, but there is no logical explanation for it that I can see unless there's a mental defect. And I mean, I've had conversations with women that just made my head spin because I couldn't make rhyme. There's no rhyme nor reason to what they were saying. It was total illogic and gibberish. Now, I've occasionally had those kinds of conversations with men too, but in the case of a man, there's always mental illness or addiction or something behind it. With women, it's just a normal, everyday woman, and I'll be having this strange conversation with her. That's the ones who talk to me. There's lots that will run a mile as soon as they see me because there's something about me they don't like. I was in the grocery store one time and I bent over one of those refrigeration type boxes, with stuff in it. And I'm looking at something in there and I'm kind of deciding whether I want it or not. I decided I didn't want it. And so I straightened up and I turned around and there was a woman standing behind me waiting for her turn to get into the cooler to get something she wanted. I turned around, I was face to face with this woman. I don't know who she was. I don't know her or anything. And she was an older woman too. She looked to be about 60 years old. Anyway, when I turned around and I ended up face to face with her, she let out a shriek, just a terrified shriek, and she turned and she ran across the store. Now, I mean, if I looked like Herman Munster, that would make sense. But, I don't understand it. Even if something had happened, like let's say I'd gotten into an altercation with somebody just before that and I was still mad, well, maybe I'd be giving off an energy or something and she'd sense that, and that would explain it. But that wasn't the case. I wasn't in a bad mood. I wasn't mad at anybody. I don't understand it. It's just I got that reaction. But of course, by that time, women had reacted to me so much that way, I was used to it. There was one girl that I was interested in one time, and when I told her I was interested in her, that I wanted to pursue a dating type relationship with her, she burst into tears and she sat down on the couch and put her head in her hands and she said, "This is the worst thing that has ever happened." I've had women tell me that they feel like me showing an interest in them, that it's the equivalent to being raped. I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, either I have to believe that women are mentally defective, or I have to believe that they're right about me. And I can't see any logic to the idea that they're right about me. I don't rape people. And it makes no sense to say that me showing an interest is the same as being as a rape. That would be like, I don't know, saying that somebody going to get a job so they can earn some money is the same as somebody pulling an armed robbery. Like if I go down to the convenience store looking for a job at the convenience store, that the convenience store manager should react the same as he would as if I came in with a shotgun to rob the place. Like it doesn't make any sense. There's no logic to it, that's all. Anyway, that's the reason I am the way I am with women. The woman I got into some controversy with last year was the first woman I had showed any interest in a long time. And it took about a year before I actually gave in and started to show an interest. And then, of course, as soon as I started to show an interest, she lost interest. So, anyway, then she decided she wanted to be with a gangster. So, go figure. Anyway, just another chapter in my life experiences with women, that's all. But it did teach me a lesson, and that is that I really do need to just be alone and not to be in that kind of a relationship. no good will come of it. I don't exactly hate women, but I don't really look at women very favorably at this point. And I definitely want to be distanced from them. And I want to keep things very superficial with women. I don't want to get involved in anything too serious or too deep with a woman. Just very superficial. And on top of that, like I say, I've just had too many bad experiences, that's all. I've been freaked out at, I've been yelled at, I've been accused of things that I haven't done. I don't deal very well with that either. I don't know how to deal with that. And so things get worse. If I respond to it in any way, that just makes things worse because I really don't know how to respond to it. You know? One of the reasons that I failed at being a cab driver when I was a cab driver is because I had trouble dealing with irrational people. And when you drive a cab, you get a lot of people in your car who aren't at their best. People who are drunk or high or emotionally unstable or whatever. I once had a woman get into my cab. She got into the back seat of the car. She told me to take her to the neighboring town. Well, I pulled away from the curb and I rounded the corner to get the car pointed in the direction it needed to be pointed in to go to that town. And as I rounded the corner, she opened the back door and stepped out of the moving car. And of course, I